should have been on there. It should have been on television. Where do you want me? I will open today with a big thank you to the City of Batavia School District for allowing me to hold this event here. I feel it is important for those who are seeking elected office to acquaint themselves with all levels of their constituency as well as all areas of concern. As president of the City of Batavia Board of Education, I can tell you that our district welcomes all inquiries to learn about the educational community that we all represent, and that is why we are here today. In most cases, Board of Education members often maintain a level of nonpartisanship in political races, allowing them to serve the district, its families, and our students without being involved or burdened by the framework of the political system. With that in mind, and knowing that this is indeed a unique situation, I've decided to proudly and enthusiastically endorse Nick Stankevich for U.S. Congress in the 27th District. My reasons are quite comprehensive, and my belief in the system of public education have led me to where I stand today. Districts require a certain level of cooperation and funding from the federal government in order to provide for many of our neediest students. Programs that are called upon daily to aid and assist our children are in jeopardy under current conditions and this administration. These programs include, but are not limited to, food and nutrition services, learning disability services, as well as health and wellness programs for our students. As each day passes, we see the call for removal of Medicaid funding to New York State that allows us to provide life-saving services, areas of medical necessity, and dispensation of medicines and therapies for many of our most vulnerable students. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It is important that our local representatives study and learn about our federal education programs. Nick Stankevich will be that person. He will work with our local educational leaders to understand the needs of our students and the families that we serve. He will work to maintain a high level of funding that is needed to provide for our neediest children. And I believe that Nick will work to ensure that the funding for programs that enhance the lives of many of our children are maintained fairly and with expediency. Nick will work to ensure the funding is maintained and programs are encouraged for career readiness in technology, mechanics, the sciences, agriculture, environmental development, and production and distribution of goods and services. And Nick will work to ensure that good-paying jobs are here in Western New York, allowing our students to take what they have learned here and stay here for solid employment. One thing that has been very clear to me during this whole process, education and jobs are what is important to grow and replenish New York. Nick will work tirelessly to give us a stronger economy, lower unemployment, and a higher standard of living for all of our citizens. Education is the key, and the current erosion of federal support for public education is why I've stepped forward. Nick Stankevich will support programs that will enhance and develop education. I have a saying that I strongly live by. It describes my calling and explains my passion for our educational system and our children. It is simply, do the most for those that have the least. By serving those that need the most, we are providing for all of our children, allowing each to reach his or her potential and becoming contributing members of the communities. You're ensuring that our schools will educate college and career-ready students. Nick Stankevich was born, educated, and raised in Western New York. He is the son of a teacher and a successful small businessman. He knows Western New York's passion, Western New York's talents, and Western New York's strong determination to succeed. He will stand up for our students, our families, and all residents of the 27th Congressional District, and he truly will be our congressman. It is my extreme honor and pleasure to once again state that I endorse Nick Stankevich for Congress in the U.S. 27th Congressional District. Thank you. Nick?
Thank you, Matt. Good afternoon. My thanks and gratitude for this opportunity and this endorsement. It is imperative that we, as residents of Western New York, understand how we can make this wonderful place we call home a better place for all of our residents. Education and jobs are key. We have first-class educational institutions that train our young people, but often those that have been educated and trained have to leave the area to find employment. This needs to stop. Education and career readiness, as well as funding for new programs that train in technology, the sciences, environmental initiatives are what is important. What is also important is that we provide for all of our students, that we enhance funding from the federal level to ensure that those much needed services are available. We need a representative that cares and is willing to learn. I will be that representative. I thank Patrick Burk for his endorsement, and I appreciate the tour of Batavia High School and the educational discussions that we had today. As a native Western New Yorker, son of a teacher and a businessman, I appreciate that we have a great deal to accomplish to improve our Western New York home. I'll work hard to push forward these improvements and make sure that we stress education and jobs. Let's work together, make this area from Niagara to Ontario County a dynamic area to live, work, and raise our families. I will be very proud to represent you and all the wonderful people in the 27th Congressional District.
Well, for our particular district, there's a tremendous need for, as I stated in the statement, number one is, of course, title funds, Title I, Title II, as well as Medicaid funding. What many people don't realize is that if the Affordable Care Act is destroyed or removed, New York State will be actually losing millions and millions of dollars of Medicaid funding. And Medicaid funding in public school districts does exactly what I just said. Nurses dispense medicine. There's life-giving or life-saving treatments that are done here on a regular basis. Our district, it's important because these types of things normally used to happen in the old days, in the good old days. These students would not be allowed in regular schools. Now they are because this type of environment is here. There's also talk of reducing like the nutrition and food programs through the agricultural department. What would our students do? We just went through a tour of the lunch area. What would our students do if we didn't have indeed great lunches here that are nutritious? It's not canned food. They cook everything here. They make it out of whole food. What would we do without the federal funding for that? And I think a lot of people don't understand that it's a tremendous, tremendous burden that if we would have to replace what happens with the food from the agricultural department as well. So there's many things. Title funding for students with educational needs and concerns and disabilities. All those things are on the chopping block, and we need a representative that really would just stand up and say, no, we are not going to take those things away.
You know, there's a lot to be done in all of our communities. And I believe that we need new leadership and we need a new direction.
What is wrong with the current direction that made you motivated to stand?
The simple answer is jobs. Pretty much it. There's many different ways to do economic development, and mine would be more of a people-first approach that helps the community.
So I believe now we have 2 Democrats running.
Yes, sir.
3 or 4 challenges in the Republican Party.
Yes.
It's very rare for an incumbent to face this much of a challenge. Why do you think Chris Collins is attracting this kind of opposition?
Look, I think from the run-up to 2016, a lot of people got re-engaged who weren't before, or they see that there is opportunity to improve in our communities and as a nation as a whole. And I think that's what it is. It's from the past 30 to 40 years, you know, where we are now. I mean, doing the status quo and expecting different results, it's not going to happen. It's time for a new approach.
We talked about jobs. I'd like to know more specifically what your plans are, and particularly most jobs come from new businesses. What are you going to do to attract new business to Western New York?
Yeah, well, a little bit about my background. I started 5 different companies, so I know a little bit about job creation and economic development. But as we unfold more and as the campaign goes along, we will be releasing specific policies and specifically to jobs.
What kind of business are those?
My first one was a swim school, catered towards little ones, like over there. Start as low as like 1 or a half a year up to mostly 6. And then every once in a while I get a ramp up to high schoolers who want to be more proficient on a high school team or get into triathlons. And then, of course, every once in a while, an adult or two that also wants to get into triathlons or be more fit. So I did that for about 12 years. I've done a couple startups, one in financial technology, one was a productivity app. I have one going right now, which is I guess the best way to describe it's like an Uber for private instruction. Right now I'm helping my parents' small business. It's a bed and breakfast. So we're getting more heads on the bed, and through those trials and tribulations, we're getting into e-commerce. Apparently we're in the wool business now, and to sum that off, I know this is a very long answer to your question, we're getting into hydro. We're building a hydroelectric power plant on the property.
And where's that?
GENESEE Country and Bed and Breakfast in Mumford, New York.
So we mentioned this is going to be a crowded field. And
Yes, sir.
You're going to be in the primary. What separates you from your opposition issues and so on?
My ideas and ideology.
So describe your ideology.
Well, first, I'm pro-America and I'm pro-people. It's the simplest answer.
As part of this campaign, where obviously the teachers groups in the schools play a big role in,
Yes, sir.
especially when there's a Democratic primary, is that could be a big piece of this? Can you kind of explain what you were trying to show? You know, obviously it's not that as the Batavia Teachers Association goes, so does the 27th, but what you were hoping to show to them, what you're going to try to be showing to schools.
It's a great question. Well, first of all, my schools are always near dear to my heart. My mom has been an educator her entire life. Secondary ed, high school. She was a college professor for a little bit. So education has been forefront in everything I've ever done. Just from me going through college and going to graduate school, it's very important. And for me as a candidate, and this is not everyone's first barbecue here, that we've covered a lot of campaigns. They're very personable and personal. And for me, having the launch of our campaign at a school that is a strong school, it's a good thing to do. It's what I believe in.
Reduce the size of the Department of Education, anything that would benefit local government.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of work to be done. It's holding people accountable, and like I said before, as the campaign goes on, we'll get into more specifics on legislation.
Is education the main passion that drives you to run, or is there another passion behind this?
It's a passion for sure. The big thing is it's what I know best: economic development, business. I guess throughout my entire life, outside of just the business aspect of it, but I like getting people together and I like improving my community. And that's what I've done my entire life. When I was going through business school at Pepperdine University, we would held town hall brunches to getting alumni together. I was my class president, never done that before, and that was really exciting. And we were starting new initiatives, shoring up different clubs, just so we could leave a legacy that future students and the current students would have a better experience. So it's just something I like to do, and for me, the community needs help. It shows talking to your neighbor, it shows what we see on TV and read in the newspaper, and it's time for some change. It's time for new leadership and time for real people who are a public servant, who are focused on people.